In 1848, I uncovered a genius whose laughter shook the world, but its echo was captured in silence. Join me on this journey through time to unravel a mystery that left no sound but changed everything. Subscribe now to dive into this forgotten tale. I stood in the dim light of a London archive, dust motes swirling like ghosts around me. The year was 1848, and I was chasing a whisper, a prodigy whose name had nearly vanished. Her laughter, they said, could light up a room, but no one remembered why. I found her story buried in brittle letters, ink faded like memories. She was Eleanor Voss, a mathematician whose mind outran the world's understanding. At 16, she'd solved equations that baffled scholars twice her age. Her work promised to reshape science, but something stopped it. I held a letter she'd written, her words sharp and alive. It spoke of a machine, a device no one believed possible. My fingers trembled as I read her description. She called it the silent recorder, a contraption to capture moments without sound. I wondered what drove her to create such a thing. Was it brilliance or madness? The archive grew colder as I read on. Her laughter, it seemed, was the key to it all. Eleanor's story began in a small village where stars lit her nights. Her father, a clockmaker, taught her the dance of gears and time. By 10, she was solving problems he couldn't grasp. Neighbors whispered of witchcraft, but her father shielded her. She wrote of nights spent sketching machines by candlelight. Her mind was a furnace, burning with ideas too big for her era. I found a sketch of her silent recorder, lines precise yet wild. It was meant to capture the essence of a moment, she wrote. No sound, no image, just the feeling, etched into metal. I couldn't fathom how it worked. Her letters hinted at a demonstration in 1848. People gathered, expecting miracles. But something went wrong. The laughter they remembered wasn't joy, it was defiance. I needed to know what happened that day. The demonstration was held in a grand hall in London. Eleanor, barely 18, stood before skeptics and scholars. Her machine gleamed, all brass and glass, a puzzle of engineering. She claimed it could record emotions, store them like memories in a bottle. I read accounts from witnesses, their words dripping with doubt. They described her laughter as she unveiled it, bold, almost mocking. The machine whirred, lights flickered, but no sound emerged. The crowd jeered, calling it a failure. Yet Eleanor's eyes sparkled with triumph. I found a journal entry from that night. She wrote, "They heard nothing, but I saw it all." What did she see? The silent recorder had worked, but only she understood how. I felt her frustration through the pages. Her genius was too vast for their minds. I traced her steps after the demonstration. Eleanor vanished from public view, her name erased from records. But her letters revealed she kept working in secret. She described refining the silent recorder, making it smaller, more precise. I found a sketch of its core, a crystal that vibrated with emotion. She believed it could hold a person's essence forever. My heart raced as I read her words. I laughed into it, and it kept me. Was this why her laughter lingered in stories? I imagined her alone, pouring her soul into her creation. The world had rejected her, but she didn't stop. Her letters grew frantic, hinting at a breakthrough. She wrote of a moment when the machine glowed, capturing something eternal. I needed to find that machine. My search led me to an old manor, crumbling in the English countryside. It was Eleanor's last known home, abandoned decades ago. I walked through its halls, floorboards creaking underfoot. In the attic, I found a trunk filled with her tools. Among them was a small, intricate device, the silent recorder. It was heavier than it looked, its crystal core faintly warm. I held it, feeling a strange hum, like a heartbeat. Eleanor's notes described how it worked. Emotions triggered vibrations, stored in the crystal. I wondered if her laughter was still inside. I pressed it to my ear, hearing nothing but my own pulse. Yet something stirred in me, a fleeting joy not my own. Was this her echo? I needed to test it, to know for sure. Back in my study, I examined the silent recorder under lamplight. Its gears were impossibly delicate, crafted with inhuman precision. Eleanor's notes explained how it captured emotions through touch and intent. I tried to activate it, following her instructions. My fingers brushed the crystal, and I thought of joy. Nothing happened, no sound, no light. But I felt a spark, like a memory I hadn't lived. I read more of her letters, desperate for answers. She wrote of a moment when the machine sang without sound. It had captured her laughter during a storm, she said. I pictured her standing in the rain, defiant and alive. Her genius was in bending time itself. I needed to recreate that moment. I spent weeks studying her equations, each one a maze of brilliance. They described how emotions could be translated into vibrations. The silent recorder wasn't just a machine. It was a bridge to the human soul. I found a letter from a friend who'd seen it work. He described Eleanor laughing as the crystal glowed. It was like she'd bottled her spirit, he wrote. But he also warned of danger. The machine could overwhelm, he said, trapping too much of a person. I wondered if that's why Eleanor disappeared. Had she given too much to her creation? I felt her presence in every word I read. Her laughter wasn't just sound. It was her essence, eternal. I decided to test the silent recorder again, this time outdoors. I stood in a field as a storm brewed, mimicking Eleanor's moment. The device hummed faintly, its crystal catching the light. I laughed, pouring my heart into it. For a moment, I felt weightless, as if the machine had taken part of me. The crystal pulsed, warm and alive. I didn't hear her laughter, but I felt it, a burst of joy that wasn't mine. It was Eleanor, her echo preserved without sound. My hands shook as I realized what I held. Her genius had defied time, capturing her soul in silence. I was holding history itself. The discovery changed me. I couldn't stop thinking about Eleanor's sacrifice. She'd poured everything into the silent recorder, knowing the world wasn't ready. Her letters spoke of loneliness, but also hope. She believed someone would find her work one day. I felt a responsibility to share her story. The machine wasn't just a relic, it was proof of her brilliance. I wrote articles, contacted historians, but many dismissed it. They couldn't grasp what I'd felt. I kept the silent recorder safe, guarding its secret. Eleanor's laughter lived in it, a silent echo of 1848. I vowed to protect her legacy. Her genius deserved to be remembered. As I shared her story, I felt Eleanor's presence guiding me. Her laughter wasn't just a sound. It was a challenge to the world. She'd laughed in the face of doubt, and I would too. The silent recorder was her voice, speaking across centuries. I realized it wasn't just about capturing emotions. It was about defying limits. Eleanor had seen what others couldn't. Her machine was a testament to human potential. I urged others to subscribe, to join me in uncovering more forgotten stories. Her echo was silent, but it roared in my heart. Together, we could make the world hear it. The more I learned about Eleanor, the heavier her story felt. Her letters revealed a childhood of isolation, her brilliance a burden. She wrote of sneaking into her father's workshop, teaching herself mechanics. By 12, she was designing machines no one understood. Her silent recorder wasn't her first invention, but it was her boldest. I found sketches of earlier devices, clocks that measured heartbeats, gears that mimicked thoughts. Each one pushed the boundaries of what was possible. I imagined her sleepless nights, driven by questions no one else asked. Her laughter, I realized, was her rebellion. It was her way of saying she wouldn't be silenced. The world wasn't ready for her, but she didn't care. I felt a kinship with her defiance. I wanted to shout her name to the world. In the archive, I found a letter from a rival, a scholar named Thomas Wren. He'd mocked Eleanor's demonstration in 1848. His words were cruel, calling her a child playing with toys. But I sensed jealousy in his tone. Eleanor's ideas threatened his world. Her silent recorder challenged everything he knew. I pictured her standing tall as he sneered, her laughter cutting through his scorn. Wren's letter mentioned a second demonstration, one no one attended. Eleanor had invited him, but he refused. I wondered what she'd shown that day. Her notes hinted at a breakthrough, something even she couldn't fully explain. The silent recorder had captured more than laughter. It held her essence. I needed to understand its limits. I tracked down Wren's descendants, hoping for clues. They had a box of his papers, untouched for decades. Among them was a sketch of Eleanor's machine, annotated in his hand. He tried to replicate it, but failed. His notes called it impossible, yet terrifying. I realized he'd seen it work, even if he wouldn't admit it. Eleanor's laughter had shaken him. The silent recorder wasn't just a machine. It was a mirror to the soul. Wren's fear made me respect Eleanor more. She'd created something that unnerved even her enemies. I felt her strength in every line I read. Her laughter wasn't just defiance. It was power. I wanted to hold that power myself. Back at the manor, I explored rooms Eleanor might have known. In one, I found a hidden panel behind a bookshelf. Inside was a journal, its pages brittle but intact. Eleanor described her final days with the silent recorder. She wrote of feeling thinner, as if part of her was trapped in the crystal. I shivered, realizing the machine's cost. It didn't just capture emotions, it took them. Her laughter was preserved, but at what price? She wrote of wanting to share her discovery, but fear stopped her. The world wasn't ready, she said. I felt her loneliness in those words. I promised myself I'd tell her story right. I brought the journal to my study, reading it under the same lamplight as the silent recorder. Eleanor's words were a mix of triumph and dread. She described the crystal glowing brighter with each use. Her laughter was the first thing she'd captured, a test of the machine's power. But it had taken more than she expected. I feel it pulling me, she wrote. I wondered if she'd stopped using it or if it consumed her. The journal ended abruptly, mid-sentence. I stared at the silent recorder, its crystal dull but heavy with secrets. I wanted to activate it again, to feel her echo, but her warning held me back. I wasn't ready to lose myself. I contacted a physicist friend to analyze the silent recorder. She was skeptical but intrigued by Eleanor's equations. We spent hours discussing how vibrations could store emotions. The crystal, she said, might be a kind of resonator, amplifying human energy. Eleanor's genius was in seeing what science hadn't yet named. My friend warned that using the machine could be dangerous. If it took too much, it might not let go. I thought of Eleanor's final journal entry, her fear of being thinned. Her laughter was preserved, but she was gone. I felt a chill, wondering if I'd already gone too far. The silent recorder sat on my desk, silent but alive. I had to decide what to do next. I returned to the archive, searching for more of Eleanor's story. A librarian showed me a newspaper clipping from 1849. It mentioned a young woman vanishing after a failed experiment. No name was given, but I knew it was her. The article called her machine a folly. But I saw the truth. Eleanor had succeeded, and it scared them. Her laughter was her legacy, captured in silence. I found another letter, this one to her father. She apologized for leaving, saying the machine was her gift to the future. I felt tears prick my eyes. She'd known her time was short. I clutched the silent recorder sketches, vowing to honor her sacrifice. I began recording my findings, wanting others to know Eleanor's truth. Her silent recorder wasn't a failure. It was a triumph no one understood. I described its crystal, its gears, its impossible design. I shared her laughter, how it lived in the machine. I posted videos online, reading her letters aloud. People were skeptical, but some believed. They felt her echo, just as I had. I urged them to subscribe, to join me in uncovering history's hidden voices. Eleanor's story wasn't just about a machine. It was about courage. Her laughter defied a world that tried to silence her. I wanted everyone to hear it, even without sound. One night, I dreamed of Eleanor. She stood in a field, the silent recorder glowing in her hands. Her laughter filled the air, bright and fearless. When I woke, the machine was warm, as if she'd been there. I realized her echo wasn't just in the crystal, it was in me. Every time I spoke her name, I carried her forward. The silent recorder was her voice, her proof of existence. I decided to keep it safe, not as a relic, but as a beacon. Eleanor's laughter was a call to keep searching, keep questioning. I felt her strength in my bones. Her story wasn't over. It was mine to continue. I shared Eleanor's story at a conference, holding the silent recorder aloft. The audience was silent, then erupted in questions. They wanted to know how it worked, what it felt like. I told them about her laughter, how it lived in silence. I passed the machine around, letting them feel its weight. Some said they felt something, a spark of warmth. I knew it was her. Eleanor's echo was reaching them, just as it had reached me. I ended my talk with a call to subscribe, to join me in finding more stories like hers. Her laughter was a challenge to the world. I wouldn't let it fade. Back home, I kept the silent recorder on my desk, a constant reminder. I read Eleanor's letters again, finding new meaning in her words. She wrote of wanting to capture the human spark. The silent recorder wasn't just about emotions, it was about immortality. She'd laughed into it, knowing it would outlive her. I wondered if she'd meant to disappear, to become part of her creation. Her journal hinted at a choice, a willingness to let go. I felt a pang of sadness, but also awe. Eleanor had given everything to her work. Her laughter was her signature, etched in silence. I wanted to honor that sacrifice. I started a podcast, dedicating it to Eleanor and others like her. Each episode explored a forgotten genius, but hers was the heart of it. I played recordings of her letters, letting her voice shine. Listeners wrote in, saying they felt her laughter too. The silent recorder became a symbol of what's possible when you dare to dream. I described its crystal, how it held her echo. I invited experts to debate its science, but no one could explain it fully. Eleanor's genius was beyond our grasp even now. I urge my audience to subscribe, to keep her story alive. Her laughter was a spark, igniting curiosity across time. One listener sent me a package, a book of 19th century inventors. Eleanor's name was there, a footnote in history. The author called her a curiosity, but I saw the truth. She was a pioneer, her silent recorder a leap into the unknown. I read the book cover to cover, finding no mention of her laughter. That was my job, I realized, to make sure the world knew. I contacted museums, offering to display the silent recorder. Most refused, calling it unproven, but one agreed, and I felt a surge of hope. Eleanor's echo would be seen, even if not heard. I kept sharing her story, driven by her defiance. The museum display was small, but it drew crowds. People stared at the silent recorder, its crystal catching the light. I stood nearby, answering questions about Eleanor. Some visitors cried, feeling her presence. I told them about her laughter, how it lived in silence. One child asked if the machine could capture his happiness. I smiled, saying it already had Eleanor's. The display included her letters, her sketches, her story. I watched as people read, their faces lighting up. Her echo was spreading, touching hearts. I asked visitors to subscribe to my channel, to keep her legacy alive. Eleanor's laughter was a gift, and I was its keeper. Late at night, I sat with the silent recorder, wondering what else it held. Eleanor's journal mentioned other emotions, sorrow, anger, love. Had she captured those too? I was tempted to try, but her warnings stopped me. The machine had taken enough from her. I wrote a letter to her, though she'd never read it. I thanked her for her courage, her laughter, her genius. I promised to keep telling her story. The silent recorder sat quietly, its crystal dull but warm. I felt her echo in my words, her laughter in my heart. She'd given me a purpose. I wouldn't let her down. I began teaching classes on Eleanor's work, focusing on her equations. Students were amazed by her insight, her ability to see beyond her time. We discussed the silent recorder, debating its possibilities. Some called it science fiction, others a glimpse of the future. I let them hold the machine, feel its weight. They sensed her laughter, even if they couldn't hear it. I shared her letters, her sketches, her dreams. My students left inspired, ready to chase their own ideas. I told them to subscribe, to join me in celebrating forgotten voices. Eleanor's echo was growing louder, carried by those who believed. One day, a scientist contacted me about the silent recorder. She'd studied its crystal and found something extraordinary. The vibrations matched patterns in human brainwaves. Eleanor had somehow tapped into the mind's essence. The scientist wanted to replicate the machine, but I hesitated. It felt like betraying Eleanor. Her laughter was hers, not ours to exploit. I shared the scientist's findings online, sparking debates. People wanted to know more about Eleanor, her life, her work. I posted her letters, her story, her echo. I asked my followers to subscribe, to keep her memory alive. Her laughter was a beacon, guiding us forward. I visited Eleanor's village, standing where she'd once dreamed. The stars were as bright as she described. I held the silent recorder, feeling her presence. I laughed, hoping she'd hear it across time. The crystal pulsed, warm and alive. I knew her echo was still there, silent but strong. I wrote a book about her, detailing every discovery. It was my way of giving her the voice she'd been denied. I included her sketches, her letters, her laughter. I asked readers to subscribe to my channel, to join me in honoring her. Eleanor's story was no longer forgotten. Her echo was mine to share. The book sold modestly, but its impact was huge. Readers wrote to me, saying Eleanor inspired them. Scientists studied her equations. Artists painted her laughter. Musicians composed silent symphonies. The silent recorder became a symbol of what's possible. I kept it safe, refusing offers to sell it. It wasn't just a machine, it was Eleanor's soul. I felt her with me, urging me to keep going. Her laughter was a fire, burning through time. I shared her story at every chance, asking people to subscribe. Her echo was growing, touching lives she'd never know. I was proud to be its voice. Now, as I write this, I hold the silent recorder one last time. Its crystal is warm, its gears still. Eleanor's laughter lives in it, a silent echo of 1848. I've told her story to the world, and it's changed me. Her genius, her defiance, her sacrifice, they're part of me now. I'll keep sharing her legacy, her laughter, her truth. The silent recorder is more than a machine. It's a bridge to her soul. I feel her joy, her strength, her echo. I ask you to subscribe, to join me in keeping her alive. Eleanor Voss laughed in 1848, and her echo will never fade. Let's make sure the world hears it, even without sound. Eleanor's story is just the beginning. Subscribe to my channel to uncover more forgotten geniuses, their echoes waiting to be heard. Join me in bringing history's silent voices to life.